Okay, this is a quick walkthrough of my Twitter Remark sales bot. So what this does is it tweets every time a Remark 1.0 or Remark 2.0 sale completes. 1.0 would be Singular and 2.0 would be Canaria. So this is Music Living Room just sold. This is Shroom of Reality. So this is the end product. How does it work? So here's the GitHub page. Um, the requirements, you need Node and Yarn, and you need Twitter API keys. To get Twitter API keys, you need to be a Twitter developer. Developer.twitter.com, you can apply. You need to write a substantial paragraph about why you want to use the Twitter API, and then they manually review it. So it will take a number of days. But once you do that, you can create a project and an app, and then you would go to keys and tokens and generate API key and secret and access token and secret. Those four things are what you're going to need. So, and we're going to put that in a .env file. That's the only thing missing from the GitHub repository. So we're going to go ahead and clone this repo and see if we can make it work. So we need to populate that .env file, and I will do that privately. Okay, so I have a .env file now, and now I just need to run yarn to pull down my dependencies. The Polkadot API and the Twitter API are both dependencies. So the Twitter API client, someone built that. It's not like a Twitter thing. Okay, now that we've done that, we should be able to just run node index.js. And as it's running, it's going to just stream the block numbers and the block hashes. And this is really just a keep alive thing, just so we know that it's doing something. We actually have a sale. So that's pretty exciting. And it was tweeted. And it was remark 1 since it's singular. We'll look into that more. I wasn't expecting that to happen so quick, but baby Gav do. All right. But let's look at the code for a minute. All right, there's two main files. Index is the main, and then Twitter. We'll look at both of them. Index, we import some stuff. We have minimum prices, so you can set a minimum V1 price and or a minimum V2 if you want to only tweet at a certain threshold, anything above 1 KSM or whatever. This is in KSM, not in like the code itself is in like times 10 to the 15th, but we translate it for you. So just put in the KSM price. This is the node that we're connecting to, but if you want to work in the development environment and trigger your own development buys, you can do that with a local node. We have a latest block. We calculate that because sometimes when I connect, I seem to get duplicate blocks, and I don't want to send duplicate tweets. So I just do a quick check to make sure that it's a new tweet or a new block number. This is just our keep alive, make sure we're doing something. And then we start going through each block and going through each extrinsic because that's where the fun is for remark. And specifically for the buy operation, it's inside a utility batch extrinsic. So we're going to make sure that it's a utility before we go further. We instantiate our variables, the NFT ID, the purchase price, the purchaser, and the version, either 1 or 2. And then we're going to go through each element inside of that batch, which could be anything. So we for a buy operation, it's a batch together of a couple balance transfers and then the actual buy remark. So if it's a balance transfer, we're going to add that amount to the purchase price. And we're not just assigning it, we're adding it because there are two transfers. One is the transfer from the seller to the buyer. The other is a transfer from the transfer from the buyer to the seller. The other one is a transfer from the buyer to the address of the fee taker. So there's two prices, and we want the total price to count as the purchase price. And also, if there's a remark, then we want to parse that to get the other values. The remark is compiled with split of double colons. So we split it on that. We make sure that we have at least 4, because in remark 1, there's 4. In remark 2, there's 4 or 5 elements. The 5th element in remark 2 is if you want to buy it for someone else, you can buy it and immediately send it. We don't care about that send. It's only who buys it that we care about. And also, we want to make sure that it's a buy operation. It could be a burn, and I think there might be other things that have the same sort of structure. So we need to check that it's a buy. If it matches those conditions, then we know the NFT ID and we can establish the version. Then we're going to go through our checks to see if we want to tweet about it. If we have actually found an NFT address, purchase price, we found something there, and the purchaser exists. Then we're going to check if it's version 1, and we match our purchase price minimum. Then we're going to compile our tweet and write it to file, write it to console, and tweet it. Similarly with 2.0, we're going to just do the same check, except on version 2 price, and then compile a different style remark statement, and then append it, console log it, and send it. In the case that it doesn't match either of these conditions, but it does sort of come close, we still want to log it. Most likely it's that it was a sale that didn't meet our criteria, but we might as well still log it. And certainly if it's version something else, we should probably see what's going on there. So we have a log for that. So that's the index file. The other file is the Twitter file, which is super simple. It's just a Twitter API implementation with all of those keys that you have, and then it posts the tweet. All that it logs is the tweet ID. You could change that if you want to log something else. You could also extend this pretty easily if you just implement this with whatever chat platform you want to. You could plug it in. This is just a string, so a function that takes a string and then do your API work. But that's the code. Now, let's see. I think we had something, right? So we had that singular. Was that the second one? Yeah, the baby gav doo-doo was down up here. So we should have a baby gav doo-doo and some other thing. Let's see if we got them. I think that's the baby gav. Yeah, what's that about? All right, whatever. So yeah, we can see in the history here that it was bought. And that is it. If you have any feedback, let me know. If you feel like voting for it, maybe I'll put a link to the thing in the description. And if you use it, please let me know too. You can follow me too. Maybe the bot will stay alive. All right, have a good one.